evening. Okay. And welcome to the October 29th, 2025 special meeting to appoint a new board member to fill a vacancy created by the resignation of Dr. Christensen on October 8th. This meeting is being held at the Menomonee Falls Community Education and Recreation Center, room 102 A and B at West 152 North 8645 Margaret Road in Menomonee Falls. This meeting is being broadcast live on Falls Cable Access and will be archived online. To watch recorded meetings, please visit our website at www.fallsschools.org/board and click on Watch Live or View Archived Meetings. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Robleski, was the meeting properly noticed?
Yes, it was.
Ms. Robleski, could you please call the roll to confirm attendance of the current school board?
Board President Grant?
Here.
Board Member Wren?
Here.
Board Member Woppert? Board Member Langer?
Here.
Board Member Schneeling?
Here.
Board Member Kramer?
Here.
Thank you. I'm seeking a motion to approve tonight's agenda with an understanding that the school board already approved the format, the agenda, and the voting procedures at the October 27th, 2025 school board meeting this past Monday.
Motion so moved.
And can I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving on to discussion. The following notice was posted on October 8th, 2025. The clerk of the School District of Menomonee Falls Board of Education, Sarah Wren, hereby provides notice that board member Dr. Nina Christensen has submitted a letter of resignation effective October 8th, 2025. We acknowledge this vacancy and our desire to appoint a member in accordance with our policies and procedures. Okay. I'll reiterate that the sole purpose of tonight's meeting is to appoint a new board member to serve until the April 2026 election, when a successor will be elected to fill the remainder of Dr. Christensen's original term, which would be through April of 2028. In connection with the meeting's purpose, Mr. Munoz has expressed a desire to say a few words of gratitude to Dr. Christensen. Mr. Munoz?
Thank you, Mrs. Grant. Dr. Christensen has been a tireless advocate for the students in the community of Menomonee Falls during her tenure serving on the Menomonee Falls School Board. Thank you, Dr. Christensen. I would like to close with a statement from Dr. Christensen, which he shared with me. Although I am not disappointed that I wasn't able to complete my second term, I'm incredibly proud of all that was accomplished during my time on the board. Serving this community has been one of the greatest honors of my life, and I'm grateful to have helped move Menomonee Falls beyond the status quo and to be a part of real, lasting change in our schools. I'm deeply proud to have supported policies that protect the innocence of children, advance changes that strengthen student achievement, and help bring the focus of education back to its true purpose, teaching and learning. For those I would like to thank, first and foremost, I thank God for giving me the strength and the courage to walk this journey. I also want to thank my family for their patience, love, and unwavering support through the many long nights, meetings, and moments that took me away from home. And to everyone who believed in my mission and stood by me, you have my heartfelt thanks. Your encouragement gave me strength when the road was hard and reminded me why this work mattered. Serving the board has been a deeply meaningful chapter in my life, one filled with challenges, growth, and profound purpose. I will always be grateful for the opportunity to serve and to have played a small part in shaping a better future for the students and community of Menomonee Falls. Thank you, Dr. Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Munoz, and I too thank Dr. Christensen for her service as well. Okay, we're going to move on to the statements and interviews from the candidates. I I do have a few things I just want to outline for everybody who's here tonight. Really just reiterating the format for tonight's interviews. So there are 7 candidates seeking nomination, and they were all provided notice of the format. First, each of the candidates will be afforded 3 minutes to give their statement to the board about their qualifications and their desire for the open seat. The order of those opening statements will be determined by a random name selector. After the completion of the candidate's opening statements, we will move to the interview questions. There are 3 questions. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond to each question. And again, the order of the candidate's answers will be determined randomly. Once the final candidate answers the last question, we'll move to the action item portion of our agenda. Similar to the process on Monday night where we elected a new vice president, board members will need to nominate a candidate from the candidate pool. Nominations do not require a second, and nominated candidates will be asked if they accept the nomination. I assume they will, since they're here this evening. There will then be a roll call vote where each board member will indicate the name of the person they are voting for. In order to secure the appointment, a candidate needs to receive a majority vote, so that would be 4 votes. If we do not have a majority for a particular candidate after a first round of voting, we will continue to vote until we do, or until our legal counsel determines that we are at an impasse. Once a new board member has been appointed, they will be publicly announced and immediately sworn in, and they will participate in this evening's closed session meeting, which is immediately following this meeting. Okay. During the nomination and deliberation process, board members have the opportunity to discuss the candidates' answers to the questions and their qualifications. And at this time, I would like to remind board members that until a candidate is appointed, the 7 individuals that are here tonight are normal members of the public, and they've graciously stepped forward to serve the community. Only 1 person can be appointed, meaning 6 people will not. And I would ask that all comments about the candidates remain respectful. Are there any questions for the format this evening? All right, if not, let's start with the candidates' statements.
First up is Sean Dean.
What kind of future are we building for our children if we stop teaching truth, discipline, and respect? Our schools should be a place of growth, not confusion. They should lift up families, not divide them. And they should shape citizens of character and not just test scores. Good evening. My name is Sean Dean. My wife Amy and I have called Menomonee Falls home for the last 8 years. Amy has been a member of this community for more than 30. Together, we have raised 2 amazing children, Keegan and Bentley, who currently attend Menomonee Falls High School. Like so many of you, we care deeply about this district, its teachers, its students, and the community that supports them. I am seeking this vacant seat, not because I'm a politician, but because I'm a parent, a husband, and a believer in this community, who is standing here because our schools are now at a crossroads. I've seen firsthand the pressures schools face, from social distractions to political noise. But at the heart of it all, one truth remains. Our children need structure, stability, and adults who can lead over politics and not their personal agendas or beliefs. Character over chaos, and partnership over division. Over the years, I have been blessed to serve as fundraising coordinator, leader of community events, student programs, and currently, I am the president of the Falls Choir Association. I've chaired the Jingle Bell Craft craft fair bake sale, supported all of our sports programs, and coached the Junior Phoenix football program, helping young men learn teamwork, perseverance, and respect. I am also a proud Eagle Scout recipient. I envision a district where parents are true partners, not bystanders. Teachers are supported to teach boldly, not fearfully. And students are challenged to think critically, act honorably, and serve others. Imagine classrooms that cultivate both wisdom and virtue. Imagine students who not only graduate with diplomas, but with purpose. That is the Menomonee Falls that I would like to build. If appointed, I promise to listen with empathy, speak with honesty, and decide with integrity. Every vote I cast will reflect the values that built this community: faith, family, and the belief in doing what is right, even when it is not that easy. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about politics or personal agendas or bias. Thank you.
Okay, next up. You. Jason?
Good evening, and thank you all for having me. My name's Jason Klimas, and I didn't know I was going to do this until I decided to do this. I'm a longtime community member and parent of children in the district. I'm also an active PTO volunteer, and I see just how difficult it is and how much effort it takes to put everything together to have a functioning school district. And I thank everybody for all the hard work and effort that this involves. And I thought, what's something I can do? And I would like to apply and give it a shot and see what I can do to help participate. I've developed a strong appreciation for all of the collaboration this takes, all of the communication it takes, and really the commitment to make our schools thrive. As I mentioned, my motivation is really a desire to do more than just volunteer and truly to commit to helping further the community through the school board. I think we have an opportunity to appoint someone with fresh opinions, fresh perspective, from members that haven't had an opportunity to serve before. School board discussion should be a collaboration amongst all board members, all opinions, and we might not all agree, but I think ultimately we all want what's best for the parents, what's best for the teachers, what's best for administration, what's best for students, what's best for all of us as a community. And it might take some hashing out disagreements throughout closed sessions, but I think all of us just want what's best for the community. I thank everyone for the opportunity. I'm prepared to accept and get at it right after this if that's the way it goes. However, if it doesn't, I think back to the words of one of my favorite authors, Kurt Vonnegut, so it goes. Thank you very much. I yield my time.
And next up. Emily?
Good evening, board members. Thank you so much for your time tonight and your service to the community. My name is Emily Canch-Limmy, and I have lived in Menomonee Falls since 2020, and I have 2 children in the district at Shady Lane Elementary. As a parent, I care deeply about the quality of education and the experiences that help students grow and succeed. My interest in education began in college when I helped middle school students with their History Day projects. And later, I had a brief teaching experience with Teach for America. Even though my classroom experience was very short, it gave me a lasting appreciation for all the dedication and hard work that teachers do day in and day out, as well as all the staff and everyone who supports the school. Those early experiences sparked a passion for education that has led to what I like to volunteer with, as well as my professional focus ever since. Professionally, I have a strong background in human resources. I've led initiatives in recruiting and retention, learning and development, and career growth programs. Much of my work has focused on helping people and teams succeed, developing leaders, supporting professional growth, and fostering positive and collaborative environments. These experiences have shown me how important it is to ensure that teachers and staff feel heard, supported, valued, and equipped to do their best work every day. In my work, I've also partnered with community organizations and schools to expand youth partnerships, introduce students to career pathways, and to support job readiness programs. These experiences have reinforced how thoughtful partnerships and structured learning experiences and opportunities can prepare students beyond graduation, giving them skills, confidence, and exposure they need to thrive in the future. Outside of work, I co-lead a troop of second grade girls, volunteer with Little League, church, and PTO events when I can. Leading my troop has allowed me to support young girls' confidence, leadership, and curiosity while partnering with families to create positive experiences. It's shown me the value of listening to all voices to create the best opportunities for our children. Altogether, these experiences as a parent, professional, and volunteer have given me a broad view of the strengths and needs of our students, families, faculty, and staff in our community. I would be honored to bring that perspective to the board, helping guide thoughtful, informed decisions that support the success of every student in our district.
Next up. Shelley.
Good evening. Upon learning of the vacancy on the school board, knowing I would bring value day one, I stepped forward to continue to serve our community. My family and I are proud residents of Menomonee Falls for nearly 20 years. In addition, I have 2 children that currently attend the Menomonee Falls High School. Having been elected to serve on the Menomonee Falls School Board from April 2022 through April of 2025, I would be able to work with the existing board members and district leadership in a very smooth transition. While a member of the school board of Menomonee Falls, I served as clerk, was a member or chairperson of the following committees: finance, student services, and communications. This experience would prove valuable in getting up to speed quickly, as I'm familiar with many of the efforts underway. Additionally, I've held a variety of senior leadership positions within the financial services industry spanning over 30 years. I have experience in the following areas that I believe would be beneficial to serving on the school board: talent management, relationship and vendor management, strategic training and communications, organizational change management, process and product management, and budget and project management. And when I was on the board, I felt that I demonstrated collaboration and giving fair and impartial opinions, listening to all perspectives on many of the issues that face the board. So I thank you for your consideration.
And next up. Steve.
Good evening. My name is Steve Taylor, and I'm a proud graduate of Menomonee Falls Public Schools, from kindergarten through 12th grade. I know firsthand what a top-notch education this district once delivered because I received it. That strong foundation here helped me earn degrees in biochemistry and psychology and led to a career in pharmaceutical sales, where I was promoted to corporate trainer. Today, I work as a tax professional, helping clients of all kinds understand their options and obligations. Those experiences taught me the same principles to make schools successful: analyze data carefully, listen to people's needs, and help others perform at their best. Like many who have served before me, I'm motivated by concern for where our schools stand today. State DPI data shows student performance declining, Yet our board has spent too much time chasing headlines instead of results. We all remember the book bans that brought national attention to Menomonee Falls for all the wrong reasons. Meanwhile, academic progress slowed. Students can't thrive when $1 million curriculum was gutted without clear explanation. Key sections of middle school language arts can't even be used. High school history courses are missing approved material on the 21st century, including 9/11, and to this day, no action has been taken to fill those gaps. That's not leadership. That's a failure of focus. Now the board faces a choice: repeat the same divisions, or move forward with a focus on student success, safety, and unity. If appointed, I'll engage directly with our teachers, parents, and students by listening first in open, respectful conversations, by being present at classrooms, meetings, and community events to understand what's really happening, and by communicating clearly so every decision is transparent and grounded in facts, not politics. And while there's plenty we might debate, I believe there's also a great deal we can all agree on. We all want great graduates, kids who read well, think critically, and graduate ready for real opportunities. We all want schools that are safe, physically and emotionally, where bullying is taken seriously and every student feels respected and included. We all want teachers supported, resources used wisely, and taxpayers respected. Those goals aren't liberal or conservative, they're Menomonee Falls goals. And I'm proud of the education that the Falls gave me, and I want to make sure today's students can say the same thing. And Menomonee Falls is known once again for excellence, integrity, and unity. Thank you.
And next up, Rebecca.
Good evening. Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Becky Durline, and I have been a Menomonee Falls resident since 2013. I live with my husband, Steve, and our 4-year-old daughter, who is currently a student at Shady Lane Elementary. I'm also a high school teacher at a neighboring public school district. I've dedicated my entire career to helping students grow academically and personally, and I'm passionate about the role of public education and the difference that it can make in the lives of students. I also hold a master's degree in educational leadership from Cardinal Stritch University, which has deepened my understanding of how effective administration, strategic planning, data-driven decision-making can support students from the district level down. Through my day-to-day experience as a classroom teacher, I see firsthand how board policies can impact students, staff, families every day, from curriculum changes to mental health supports to communication between schools and community. I want to bring that practical, student-centered perspective to this board to help ensure that our decisions are aligned to our district's big aims and allow students and teachers to reach their full potential. I know what it takes to support great teaching, to engage with families, and make decisions to truly put students first. I'm running because I believe Menomonee Falls deserves a school board that listens, collaborates, and focuses on what matters most, which is student learning and support for educators. Our district is facing important decisions: how to attract and retain great teachers, how to ensure that our curriculum reflects high standards and real-world readiness, how to maintain strong partnerships between families, educators, and community. I bring both classroom experience and leadership training to the table, a combination that helps me see issues from multiple perspectives to find practical and balanced solutions. Menomonee Falls has a proud tradition of excellence, as noted by our school report card that just came out, and with thoughtful leadership, we can continue to provide the kind of schools that make families proud to live here. I'd be honored to serve on the board so that together we can keep our schools strong and supportive and focused on what truly matters, our students. Ultimately, my goal as a board member would be to listen carefully, collaborate thoughtfully, and keep the focus squarely on what's best for the students of Menomonee Falls. Our district should be a place where all students are engaged, supported, and accepted. I want to ensure that all families, students, and staff feel that we are a school district of choice. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Jessica. Let me start with my background. I received my bachelor's degree from Mount Mary University, where I graduated magna cum laude, and I hold a business essential certificate from Cornell University. I began working at the Kohl's corporate office in the summer of 2008 and have continued my employment there. I am currently the merchandise presentation lead for Impulse and Gift. If you've ever bought something while standing in the checkout line, I am the person who communicates to almost 1,200 stores what to put there. A little about my personal life. I have been married for 11 years. My husband works with medical software. I have 2 children. My daughter attends Riverside, and my son attends Ben Franklin. I'm a Box Tops for Education coordinator for the Ben Franklin Riverside Pie. And for those of you that don't know, that is the name of our PTA. I am currently also in my first year as co-president for that pie organization. I'm interested in the school board position to support our community. Great students make for great neighbors and future community leaders. I want to retain top teachers, grow student and parent engagement, and prepare the next generation for the real world. Financial literacy is something I'm very passionate about and want to see introduced to students at an early age. I also want to see students be critical thinkers. With the advancements in AI, everyone needs to be a little skeptical, check sources, ask someone with knowledge on the subject, etc. I'm having to teach my children and parents at the same time that just because you saw it or read on the internet doesn't make it true. To me, a great leader is someone who listens. They work both with and for their teams. They know their strengths and the strengths of those around them. While they can do anything, they shouldn't do everything. They have to delegate and get the right people in the right positions. That's the kind of leader I'd like to be for the district. Listen and support the faculty so that they can excel at their jobs and we all become better for it. While I don't have a degree in education or child development, my career in corporate retail involves strategic planning, problem solving, communication, and fiscal management. Skills that I see as crucial for steering educational policies, understanding and addressing the needs of the school community, and making informed decisions on budgets and monetary allocations. I appreciate your time for considering me for this position.
Okay, that concludes the statement portion of the night, and we'll now move to the Q&A. Again, there are 3 questions. We're going to read one question, and then we will randomize the order of people giving their answers. And we'll ask the second question, and it'll be re-randomized again, so it's not going to be the same order for every question. So if you're the first one on the first question, you're likely not the first one on the next question. So do we want to read the question and then start randomizing, or do we want to call the first person and read the question?
Let's
That'll
read the
give
question.
a few extra seconds to think about your answer.
The first question is, tell us about a topic from a previous Menomonee Falls School Board meeting over the last few months and how you would have assisted the current board in navigating the issue.
First is Speedy. Shelley.
Okay, so one of the things that's been coming up recently on one of the community committee meetings is the introduction of Neola as a system for migrating all of our policies as well as future procedures over. One of the things having the experience I do with rewriting policies or making changes or maintaining changes with the policy system is anytime we had to create or craft a new policy, we didn't sort of start it from scratch on a blank piece of paper. And so leveraging the templates that are available in Neola will really go a long way in helping this board make sure that we're minimizing the risk for our community and our district. But then it also has the ability and flexibility to help make it feel like it fits the needs that we need, or we also have the opportunity to leave a policy as it stands and adjust it just that way. And I feel like my background in working with process and policy changes and training and communication came a long way to support that effort, to make sure that we're making prudent choices when we're evaluating those policies as they continue that migration. And then with any procedure, additional details that come out of it in the future as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Jason.
So two answers actually come to mind for me on this one. The first is I know there's been conversation around curriculum, and I would like to be involved with who helps set that and who make sure that we have the right decisions going into what the curriculum, whatever curriculum decisions are going on, that we have a thorough conversation, not just amongst ourselves, but amongst the community. The second part is when I heard the question of in recent months, I'm also reminded that a number of meetings in recent months have been canceled. So I would like to make sure that when I talk to the community about a meeting that's going to change or not happen, that we put that out there with enough time that they can react and still have some sort of dialogue with us, even if we're not having the meetings. So, thanks.
And next up, Jessica.
Can I ask a quick question? Can the, is there an audio issue in the audience, or can people hear us?
Can't hear.
Hey, one of the problems is when you guys all have your mics on, it provides a lot of feedback, and you've seen the feedback that I got before. So only those speaking, I can turn it up so we don't have that. If you're not speaking, then I can do it.
I guess there are two topics that you've discussed recently. The moving the school district into Ben Franklin. While I don't feel like I have all the details, I'm very curious about that and how that would work, especially given that Shady Lane and Valley View seem to have, not Shady Lane, but Valley View seems to have more landscape space, and we're adding on to this building, and how maybe those offices could have been included here. And the second thing was the substitute teacher pay. I saw that that was quite large for the last year, and so I would, like to dig into those finances as best I could to understand where that discrepancy is coming from for having so much, such a high spend.
And next, Steve.
The recent board topic that I would want to discuss would be the implementation of Neola policies. As I understand it, Neola is provided by an independent organization. They work with many districts in Wisconsin, and what they do is provide a series of policies that are written up by legal experts. And with that, we get some assurance that these are in compliance with state laws, with things that we all need to observe, and I think it gives us the advantage of being consistent with other districts as well. And in the chance that we would want to make any changes as a local district, I would look at that closely and see what the need might be for making rewrites, revisions to those Neola policies on a policy-by-policy basis. I'd listen to what the policy committee recommended. And I would, in fact, welcome some standardization of policies, because I know that in the past several years, there have been many revisions of a few select policies. And as one of our current members knows and learned through experience, sometimes those policies can be very arduous for parents to navigate and may not even reach a resolution with the board that wrote it up themselves, that the policy actually wasn't followed to its conclusion, and those parents were sent away. So I would take care to be fair and keep parents, teachers, and students in mind and make sure that we are being compliant with state laws and, generally speaking, apply the Neola policies as they're provided to us for both legal reasons and fairness to the community.
And next. Rebecca?
Over the last couple months, I also would like to speak towards the Neola policies that have been coming up at board meetings and being adopted over the last couple of months, section by section. I think the policies, as the previous candidate stated, drafted by Neola is such a great way to have outside perspective, making sure that we are legally holding up to legal expectations, while also making sure that our policies are aligned to community values, district goals, and all of those things. I know that many of the policies were accepted and adopted as is, as given to us by Neola, but I know there are some that were changed as well. And I've spoken at board meetings about this before too, and how we need to make sure that all of our policies are upholding the values of every member of our community. I also think that when these policies are adopted, that it would be valuable to be transparent with our community members, with our staff, about why these policies are being changed from what they were originally drafted as such. I do have experience also in a previous school district, working at a charter school, drafting our charter school contract, editing our charter school contract, and working with our governance council at every governance council meeting to make sure that we were upholding those policies. So having that experience, I think, helps me a lot in this situation to be able to understand the policy type of language, as well as making sure that the policies help us move forward in our vision. Thanks.
Thank you. And next up. Emily.
I'm going to be similar to others with Neola policies. With my HR background, I've done a lot of work with policies, with handbooks, even just hearing in the last board meeting, we've combined our handbooks, which I do think is a great idea. Anything that we can do to make our policies clear helps those faculty and staff. But I also think following that sound legal advice that Neola has given is also important, but I do feel my expertise in HR could lend a hand in that area. I also, have heard different board meetings talking about the Ben Franklin renovation, moving the offices, and I think really looking to engage the community, staff, and families more before we make major decisions. I know sometimes at meetings, I know there's committee meetings, and it's hard to go to all the committee meetings if we can have a bit more dialogue about certain things that are going on in the district at these school board meetings, just so we can get as much input from the community before we make those major decisions, so we're able to listen to all the voices that we can. Thank you.
There are so many different policies that people have talked about over the last several months, and it's hard to choose just one. Policies regarding teacher pay, substitute teacher pay, and now this Neola thing. I'm not too abreast with Neola, but I have done my research and been to a few meetings where it's been talked about, and I'm for it on one hand, but I'm against it on another hand, because if we need to bring in an outside source, why are the 6 of you sitting here? You know, that's one thing I don't understand. We have gone decades with the school boards over the years that have had policies that have sculpted our school districts, that have sculpted our teachers, that have sculpted our students. And, I'd like to get my hands in more with the Neola thing to see if it's really worth something we need to do, or if we need to stand behind our values and our faith and our commitment to this community, the teachers and the students, and have our own policies like we've had for so long. Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I know there are certain things that are broke and do need fixing, but we need to come together as a community as a whole, parents, teachers, and students, in order to understand what is truly broken, what is truly needing to be repaired. And I know Rome wasn't built in a day, so we got to start small in order to get big. Thank you.
All right, so that is round one of questions, I guess. And so I guess question two, Hallie, do you have question two?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great.
Can you hear me? Question 2. If you are appointed to this position, what topic would you prioritize as a future board agenda item and why?
Okay, our first candidate is. Sean again.
I guess I got the luck of the draw again,
Yeah, I thought it would be bad if the same person had to go for white.
Right, okay.
The last one and have to go right away, so thank you.
I could have just stayed up here and saved everybody the time. That's all right, though. No, if I was appointed to this position, there's so many things I'd want to get my hands on. You know, because I want to be able to help the community, our students, our teachers at all levels on a broad aspect. I don't have just one thing, because I don't limit myself to one thing. At my job over the last 10 years or so, I've worn many hats. And that's what I want to do here. I want to be able to engage with everything. I don't want to be limited to one thing. And that's, you know, what I bring, if appointed to this position, is the opportunity to engage on multiple different levels, on multiple different topics, working with multiple different policies. I'm not like my opponents here. I don't have a college degree. You know, I graduated Hard Knocks School of Life, graduated high school. You know, that's all I got, and what I can bring to the table is being a parent in a school district that I believe in, children that I care about, especially my own two, and all their friends who are pretty much adopted, and they talk about stuff that they would like changed. And whether it's curriculum, whether it's, you know, whatever it may be, I want to be able to get my hands dirty on all of it, because I feel that you don't have to be limited to just one thing. And I feel with my experience, you know, growing up and being a parent and, you know, doing multiple different things at my job, I feel, you know, that I'm able to do that here as well. Thank you.
Am I able to ask a clarifying question? No. Okay. I just want to be an informed person.
Okay, next speaker.
So you want to be clear about a clarifying question. We would have to ask that of everybody.
Yeah.
So then we would have to go through all the candidates again.
I will.
With the same question.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
So yeah, we did adopt the procedure at the last meeting, and the format is the 3 questions. And again, just to keep the integrity of what we've already said we were going to do, as well as, you know, we don't want to make everybody have to answer additional questions. The questions were already drawn up in advance.
Am I in the clock?
No. Your time's up.
So, what I heard earlier is the district office move, and that dovetails into what I think is an opportunity. What we've heard amongst all of us is an opportunity to really solicit feedback from the community and start to rebuild trust between the board and all the different perspectives we have here within the Falls. So what I would like to see is a project like that engage everybody so that we can feel like we're all contributing, all of our opinions are being heard, and we're landing on solutions that everyone's comfortable with and everyone feels like their opinion was heard, and we landed on the best decision for all of us. So I'm doing this right, I have 75 more seconds, so I'm going to stretch, but thank you.
You've been second for everything. So you had the second statement, and you answered question 1 and question 2 as the second speaker. So.
Are you telling me I'm runner-up already?
One of the main issues I think I would like to bring up, if appointed to the board, would be how best to support the special education departments of this school district. My daughter is in the special education program at Shady Lane, and I've had some wonderful experiences, but through anecdotal data and listening to community members already, I know that there are some places for us to grow, including that of staff retention. With the staff turnover in the special education department throughout schools, it is difficult for students to have long-term success when their teachers are changing and changing. And so if we can get quality teachers, especially in those special education departments, to stick around and to call this place their home, that would just be so beneficial for students. Also on our school report cards, students with disabilities are the group that is performing at the lowest and growing at the lowest. And so I think if we can address that and figure out ways in which to allow those students to grow and programs within the schools that can support those teachers and those students, I think we would be better for it. Thank you.
Like the other candidates here, I think I'd be overwhelmed by what choices to make and what to focus on, but one thing that pops into my head right away is helping students who might be at risk. And that goes with what I was saying about providing a safe, inclusive environment where all students can succeed. I think that, I do know that the state has a plan where the schools should be evaluating what students aren't at risk from graduating from high school. And that can be for a variety of different pressures. I'm curious to see how much of a problem that is here in the falls, because of course I want a high graduation rate, as close to 100% as possible. And some of those things might involve seeing what services we can provide to those students for whatever their individual issues might be. I also am concerned as of late with the possibility of people not getting food aid with the government shutdown. How does that affect people in Menomonee Falls with over 40 million people nationwide, depending on food stamps? How many does that leave in Menomonee Falls? What kind of effect does that have on families and students? It's one of those things that, in that case, it's something that just pops up. And I think that it would be great to have the agility to at least look at that and see what we can do for our people. So generally speaking, I think in order to get students to that level where they can all graduate and have high educational attainment, they also need to be healthy. Thank you.
Next up.
Assuming it's not rolling for them. I think all of the fellow community members who have gone before me have got a lot of great topics to bring up, and I think it would be hard to choose one topic. I'd want to first, as much as possible, listen to fellow board members of the top priorities, teachers, staff, as well as the community. I think when looking at where I can bring something to the table, where I would be most interested to focus first is teacher engagement and retention. I was really happy to hear that we are experiencing a 95% retention rate, as the director of HR noted on Monday, which is fantastic. But really want to explore why are teachers leaving? How's our engagement? You know, what are we doing to make sure teachers feel valued, supported, and their expertise is being looked at to guide district decisions, and ensure that there are consistent avenues for input and collaboration. And I think then taking that a step further of looking at what's our workforce planning. Well, we have this great retention now. I think you can look at the news stories. There's concerns about educator shortages. I was a teacher who left very early. I know a lot of teachers leave within their first 7 years. So what are we doing for workforce planning to ensure that we are a district of choice for educators so we can retain the great teachers that we have and bring in other great teachers in the future so we have a healthy district not just now, but in the future. Thank you.
Everyone's had really great examples, but I think I'll go back to my introduction when I expressed my sincere interest in financial literacy. I would want to see some sort of financial curriculum instilled in every grade level. I know my first grader doesn't quite understand the 50-30-20 budget really yet, but we're introducing things like, if you have $2, what can you get from the grocery store? What can you not get? Like, I think junior achievement is a great resource. I think there's a lot of different things that we could introduce for each grade level to make them understand the value of a dollar and to not be in the situation where we are, where so many people rely on SNAP benefits and so many people cannot fund their own lifestyle.
Hello. So one of the topics that I'm pretty passionate about is AI and how it's being used in the classrooms, either to support the work that our incredible teachers are doing or to support teachers or our students at the higher education level. We've got STEM Academy, et cetera. So there's a fine line between supporting the ingenuity of our students and maybe supporting the learning process and then mitigating that with the risk of cheating. And so I think that things are changing so quickly in the AI space, that being, I know we have a policy on it in existence, but how are we refreshing it, how are we reviewing it, and how are we bringing it in so that our children are relevant, knowing that this is going to impact the jobs for the future. So, thank you.
And so we are at the end of question 2 and on to question 3. And Dr. Walbert has question 3. Is that not working? Oh, sorry.
All right. Please tell us how you would address a parent or teacher who approaches you as a board member with a concern. What would you do?
If I were approached in that way, the first thing I would do is thank that person and assure them that their concern would be taken seriously. However, I'd also want to know what board policies are for dealing with issues brought to me as an individual. Certainly, I wouldn't want to act in a way that I make promises that I can't back up. Nor would I want to speak for the board as a whole as just one mere member. So I think the first thing I would probably do in that case, after talking with that person, thanking them for their concern, letting them know that they will be listened to, is that I would contact the school board president and ask them for next steps, whether that person should be brought in to see an administrator at the schools, to meet with any of us in closed session, or what the correct way forward is. And then, in any case, I take ownership of that complaint for as long as until it gets turned over to somebody else. And again, thank that person for coming forward.
You know, if a parent or teacher came to me with a concern, I'd first want to take time to listen to their concerns, understand what happened, and try to get to the facts that they have brought forward. Obviously, I'd want to align with what board policies and what I am allowed and not allowed to do. But then once that was brought forward, I can definitely use my HR expertise, because I will say I have had to do that much in my career, but really try to learn what happened to that situation. Is this something that's appropriate for the board to handle? Is this something that needs to go to the HR department administration to look into? If it was something that is to be brought to the board to be discussed, depending on where that topic is, I'd really want to listen to whatever community members, staff, faculty, and families have input, so then we can make an informed decision looking at the facts that are at hand, while also keeping the core of the mission here of the board of what drives student success and needs. Obviously then, depending on what happened, following up and making sure to thank that person for bringing it forward, because we can't look into issues without people coming forward to express their concerns, questions, etc.
So I have experience with this question, so serving as a board member for 3 years. And what ends up happening is when the parents reach out, you listen to them, you make them feel heard, but the first thing you do is you direct them back to the building principal of that school that they're speaking of, or the challenge or issue that they're facing. And then at that point, you indicate to them that, hey, if they're still feeling unheard or it's feeling unresolved, then at that point they have the opportunity to reach out to the superintendent. And then at that point, if they're still feeling that it hasn't been resolved to meet their needs, et cetera, then they can bring it to the board and the board issue will step in. But as it's indicated in our policies, that's the right approach to take.
Next up.
If a community member or a teacher were to approach me with concerns, I would listen with curiosity and intent to understand. So my number one thing is for those members of the community to feel heard and to feel represented. If I felt that in the moment I did not have enough time to talk with that person, I would make sure to encourage them to reach out to have a further conversation. And not to make any conclusions, but just to listen and to understand where their perspective is coming from. If it is something that they are able to handle with their administrator, I would make sure that they understood who the correct person was to contact and how to contact that person, where to find their contact information. Give that to them if they didn't know where to access that information, and encourage them that if it was not something that an administrator could help them with, that they should participate in public forum meetings and participate in community events where they can allow their positions to be heard. All of our community members deserve to be heard and listened to, and I would hope that the community steps up and lets their voices be heard.
Thank you for the question. The first thing I would do is listen and make sure that the person bringing the concern feels heard. And from there, based on what I hear, I would want to gently remind them of the escalation process. Is it something in the classroom? Well, have you spoken to the teacher? Have you spoken to the principal? And just want to remind them that we have an escalation policy, we have a process. We're listening, but let's make sure we follow that and that the right people that need to be involved are in fact involved. If, however, their concern is, look, pal, you wear pants that are from the 1980s, I will go ahead and make whatever adjustments I need to. Thank you.
And next up.
Okay. I feel a little bit like a broken record saying the same thing as everyone else, but yes, first I would do is listen intently and understand what they're trying to get across. And then I would ask them one of two things. If they want me to listen and be aware of the concern and keep an eye out on it, or if they're expecting action. When I first heard the question, it just reminded me so much of work because I'll get emails about Pepsi coolers not working. Well, the first thing you do is you call our Pepsi rep. And like, if something came in damaged, again, you call the manufacturer, like labels that we have on things. So yeah, I would take the same approach. Just listen and then engage the right parties that need to be involved.
And finally, Sean?
Well, like everybody else, first thing I would do is listen. And I would listen with empathy and be analytical about what their issue is. Then, the next thing I would do is I would point them into the chain of command. You know, if a parent comes to me about something, it would have to go to the teacher, then to the principal, lastly, superintendent. If a teacher comes to me, you know, I would go to that teacher and say, hey, you need to speak to the principal. If you get nowhere with that, then go to the superintendent. There's always a chain of command, and I feel that everybody should be informed because honestly, as a board member, and I don't mean to sound crass, but we're not here to measure and analyze day-to-day operations. Okay, we're here to govern policies. And you know, the other thing that I would do is I would approach it with fairness and kindness and be able to give the best information that I can without trying to make the decision for them. Because again, at the end of the day, when something like this comes up, there's a chain of command. Parents have to go to teachers, teachers have to go to principals, principals have to go to, you know, our great superintendent. And same thing with teachers going, you know, if they bring a concern as well. Thank you.
Okay, and that ends the Q&A section of the interviews. All right, so we're going to move now to the next section of the agenda, which is the action items. I'm seeking a nomination from the pool of candidates this evening for appointment as a school board member for the School District of Menomonee Falls to serve until the April 2026 election.
I nominate Shelley Holzman.
Okay, I have one nomination. Are there any other nominations?
I nominate Rebecca Derlin.
All right. Are there any other nominations? And a third time, are there any further nominations? Okay. Shelley Holzman has been nominated for school board member. Do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay. She answered in the affirmative. And Rebecca Derline has been nominated for school board member. Rebecca, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay, we have two candidates. At this time, we'll begin the roll call vote. So board members, when your name is called, please say the
I
name.
thought that there was opportunity for discussion or comments before voting.
Okay, yes. Okay, so I apologize. I guess I assumed that like the discussion or comments were gonna come during the nomination, but certainly, are there any discussion or comments?
before we begin the vote? Yeah, I want to first just say thank you to everybody who came up here today. Seriously, thank you so much. It was wonderful to hear from each of you and giving of your full selves and being put on the spot. This is not easy at all. I appreciate you being willing to serve in this way on the school board. And so I just want to say thank you. And then how it was just all of a sudden we nominated 2 people. And so I hope the other 5 of you don't feel like losers. You all were exceptionally great candidates. So thank you so much to each of you for taking this time to do that. I just also wanted to add that I was really impressed, and something that really struck out to me specifically about Rebecca was that her experience in education, and I'm aware that the person who will be going into this role will be going on to 2 committees. And so between policy and curriculum, I just really felt that Rebecca's expertise, her ability to be collaborative, her understanding of the education system, practical classroom experience, insight on student learning, and clear understanding of how policies affect teachers and students would be super appropriate on both the policy and curriculum committee, and then overall on the board as well. Because a teacher's expertise ensures decisions are realistic, effective, and focused on improving outcomes. And that sounds like a great board member to me. I also just wanted to say one other thing then, that I feel like I need to address, is we just had one person resign 5.5 months after being elected. And here is someone who chose not to run 5.5 months ago. And it wasn't clear to me why, and I couldn't ask to clarify, so I guess I can only make a statement of why you're open, I guess, to now being here now, Shelley. I believe in the democratic process and in the community making this choice through elections. Because they're not, community trust is fragile and skepticism is understandable, especially if a former board member who chose not to rerun were to return through appointment. This could be seen as undermining the democratic process and would strain trust with the community, especially since I heard so many people speak today about how the community wants to be more involved and have input. I felt it was important to address these concerns that so many community members have come out here to listen to tonight, and I just feel it's important to say that. Are there any other comments or discussion? All right. Any other further comments? Okay. All right. So again, we'll begin the roll call vote. When your name is called, please say the name or just the last name of the person who is your choice for the appointment. Board Member Schmeling. Rebecca Durline. Board Member Wren. Shelley Holzman. Board Member Wappert.
Shelley Holzman.
President Brandt. Shelley Holzman. Board Member Langer.
Holzman.
Board Member Kramer.
Rebecca Durline.
Okay, so that was 4 votes for Shelley Holzman and 2 votes for Rebecca Durline. Shelley Holzman is the choice for appointment as the new school board member. Her appointment ends in April of 2026 at the meeting before the reorganization meeting following the April 2026 election. Congratulations, Board Member Holzman. Your first official meeting is immediately following this meeting. We have a closed session. We will now have a swearing in of Board Member Holzman.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations. Thank you. All right, that brings us to the end of our agenda, and I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.